Welcome to episode 37 of Ring Talk, the weekly Goodwin Boxing show with myself, Martin Theobald, and with Steve Goodwin, back from a trip abroad.
And a trip to Leicester.
And a trip to Leicester. It's not quite the same thing. But
no, but it was just as good in different ways. So
yeah. How was it with Nicola Adams?
Yeah, she done well. She had, I think you'll remember that she's never been past 4 rounds in her life.
Yeah.
So to have 10 rounds was great. The opposition was not, although she's fought for a world title, she wouldn't be a world champion level, in my opinion. But she did, you know, I've got this thing about fighters that do either debuts or 10 rounds first. She's going to learn so much from that, so that will set her up nicely for the real world title in the 22nd of December.
Is that when they're going to be?
Yeah, Manchester on the Fountain
undercard. Oh right, okay.
So she's going for the world. All plans are she goes for the world title on the 22nd of December.
Excellent. I mean, that opponent was hard,
tough,
awkward. I mean, she didn't throw a straight shot, I don't think, during the whole fight. She just, her straight shots were hooks throughout.
She was tough.
Yeah, especially in the last round. Nicola really went for it in the last round and started to stick it. I thought another round and she probably could have got her out.
But again, like anything else, when you're doing 10 rounds for the first time, psychologically you're going to ease off, come back on. So now she knows she can do 10. Yeah, that's going to put her in good stead for the major fight in December.
Yeah. Did you get to see any other action whilst you were up there?
No, to be honest, as soon as she finished, I came home and then watched the rest of it. But unfortunately, what happened was when the good fight come on, it cut off at 12 o'clock. So I didn't get the Woodstock fight because I pre-recorded it. Oh. So I've come there and I've watched the Howard Davis. That was terrible. Watched that fight. Then I've come to watch the Woodstock Sharp fight, which is the fight I was looking forward to. And I got about 2 rounds and cut off. So I was gutted. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, neither have I actually.
And it was apparently a cracking fight.
I went to bed before then. Part of my bedtime at midnight.
Cracking fight though. It was a cracking fight. And, but yeah, so I didn't really see anything beforehand. And that was it really. But then, you know, and obviously we had a show down at Tottenham. So
yeah, so you did miss that one. Run by Kevin was doing.
Kevin looked after it for me, and Josh was on holiday as well.
Yeah.
So Kevin really ran it. It was my show, but I've never missed one of my own shows before. But I had no choice. But what I do try and do, fortunately, there was no title fights on there, so it was only 6s and 4s, so that was okay. And if I've got the same problem on the 24th of November when I'm in Monaco with Frank Buglioni, and there's a show on the 24th of Amy's running, so we're not going to have title fights on that show.
Okay. So going back to the weekend then, obviously you weren't there, but I'm sure you've been debriefed about.
Oh yeah, I spoke to every fight, all the fighters, which I did on Sunday. Spoke to everybody who watched it, got an overview. Just very quick from the weekend, Brad Pauls beat Willie Warburton. Hard man to look good against Willie Warburton, but we know that, don't we? Brad done well. Tom Ansell beat Lee Hallett and looked very good in doing so. Nick Parpa, he maintained his comeback with a win, a good win. Sean Robinson dominated Jordan Granham. Louie Darlin won after 2 years out, but it was 2 years out. Dana Zaxo apparently had a really good fight with Andreev's.
He only has really good fights.
Yeah, but apparently it was a lot of people said that this year Andreev took so much punishment the referee should have stopped it. Oh right. But they just let him get really badly beaten up. But
what a lovely idea.
Louis Isaacs had an absolute war, I was told today by everybody that he just seems in, and Jerome Campbell looked very good and dismantled Dean Evans. So overall the lads performed well. The only disappointment was Jack Newham, who was winning every minute of every round, just went to war in the 4th round and got caught with a punch from Fonz Alexander. But as I said to Jack, you've learned, you're going to not to make that mistake again. And he's a very talented amateur, Jack. He should, you know, having wars like that, probably for him, he'll go back and say, well, hold on a minute, I need to be more selective in my aggression rather than just all out aggression, because he'll now know what happens if you don't look after defence. And in the end of the day, it may not be the worst thing that's happened to him.
Yeah, well, if it's a lesson that he comes back from,
it's all that matters. As long as you learn from it, it doesn't matter. As long as you don't make the same mistake twice.
But it was all right or deflated on the Sunday?
It was terrible.
Right.
Terrible. But it's just, he's a young lad and he's very talented. He will, you know, I said he's going to win titles, no doubt about it. He will come back and he'll come back better. But the key is that he learns from what he did wrong.
Yeah.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Then you've got a number of shows coming up, starting this weekend coming. Unfortunately, K Prosper Danny Connor has fallen off of it.
Danny Connor unfortunately withdrew with an injury last week. As Danny knows, and anybody watching this, I spoke to Danny. Everybody was telling me Danny was not going to make the fight for various reasons, and I said, Danny, look, everybody's telling me you're not going to make it, so I will definitely 100% be there. He's got an injury, he's not going to be there. Kay's not overly impressed, to say the least. He's been in camp, and he said, you know, unfortunately Danny has become notorious for pulling out. So I've got a meeting with Kay tomorrow on Wednesday to see what he wants to do. I don't think he wants to go again with Danny Connor. Primarily not because he's scared of fighting him, because he's going to fight him this week, because he's scared of him pulling out again and wasting his time.
Yeah.
So I can understand that. But if he has to do that, that's the route he'll go. But if he can do a different route that avoids having to fight Danny, then he will do.
Yeah. But aside from that, you've still got Jeffrey Ofori, Jumanne, Camero. So it should be the other way round, shouldn't it? As the
Jumanne, Camero, Jeffrey Ofori.
Yeah, sorry, Jumanne.
Yeah. That's a great
Southern
fight.
Area lightweight title.
Great fight.
Yeah.
And Curtis Felix, Justin Menzie, and an eliminator for the welterweight title. I think that's a great fight as well. They're two really, really good fights. So there's some good fights this weekend. It's been a bit gutting in that we lost the Deion Jumah Jose Lopez fight.
Yeah.
We also lost obviously the K Prosper Danny Connor fight. But there should be news on Deion Jumah next week about a title fight for him.
So it's not all doom and gloom for Deion?
No, Deion has... No, there's no doom and gloom. Deion's fine, but I can't announce it just yet, but next week we'll be able to announce that. So Deion's going to be okay from that. Which we'll come on to the top, where we're up to in a minute with them. But let's look at the rest of the card. You've got David Abraham, the return of Big Dave.
Big Dave, training with Tony Pill.
Tony Pill, he's had a bit of time out, but he's back now again. He's fighting Phil Williams, who really can cause an upset. He's chinned already one heavyweight and knocked him out in a round. So Phil's coming to win. So I think that's a really good, exciting fight.
How long's Dave been out for now? A year?
Nearly I think 1 year, 9 months, something like that.
Yeah.
Quite a way. Wow. But he's back. Dean Richardson, who I think is one of the most exciting prospects we have. He's out doing 6 rounds. First fight since going with Gary Logan. But I've got all the time in the world for Dean. I think we can make him into a champion, and a good level champion at that. Bradley Spencer is learning his craft. He's doing a 4-rounder. Frankie Holley-Phillips. He's really exciting talent from Kent, and he's actually making his debut on Saturday, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Frankie. He was due to fight a while ago, but he got injured. But I'm so excited to see him. Dalton Miller, he's maintaining his comeback. He's winning 3 on the bounce. He's hoping for number 4. He's fighting Dwain Grant. It's a good fight that, because Dwain does come and try to win and gives it a go. Robbie Chapman, who's very exciting to watch, sells a lot of tickets.
Camden Caretaker.
I
like Robbie. I was chatting with him the other day
nice
about
kid, nice lad,
an article.
And he sells well, and he's got a good story. And then
annoyingly good looking as well.
Sorry?
Annoyingly good looking as well.
So?
Yeah. Yeah, he's my type. There you go, Robbie.
Oh dear. And one of Alex Wilkie's lads, Hassan Ali's on there as well. It's a good little show, to be fair. We've got the 2 title fights are brilliant, and the undercard, there's some really exciting talent and some things to watch. So it's a great show. I'm really looking forward to it on Saturday.
Yeah. Justin Menzie is always fun to watch.
Yeah.
I've never seen a bad fight with Justin in it. Whether he wins or loses is almost by the by for me. I know it's not for him, but he's someone who fights with passion and someone who fights because it means something to him. And I enjoy watching that. It's a really good fight, that fight, Justin Menzie, Curtis Felix. I'm really, really excited with it. So, I'm really, really, really looking forward to it. So that's brilliant, and it's going to be a really good night. Doors open at 5:30. If you haven't got your tickets and you want to come down Saturday, we'll see you at Tottenham at Phillip Lane, Tottenham Pools and Leisure Centre. Really, really good night it's going to be. So hopefully see many of you down there. And go on My Fight Tickets or get in contact with any of the lads.
Lads who are fighting, buy them off them, and it's really good. Have titles now. Obviously, we've got Deion Jumah, is obviously we're working on.
Yeah,
we should be able to announce that next week. And we're working on something for Deion to add to the 1st of December card, which features
that's an incredible card.
Taylor Jones, Linus Udofia.
Yeah.
He's talking to Bill Molshink, Quinn John McIntyre. You got.
Is Tate versus Linus going ahead of that, as or you kind of weighing up which one's going to headline?
We'll weigh up. I think they're both for the higher titles. I think they're both cracking fights.
I know.
And you've got the Double Church Jordan Jonesy fight, which is good. They're going to be coming off of the Ultimate Boxer. And I'm announcing today there's a further Southern Area title fight going on. Jack Hughes is going to fight for the Southern Area Super Flyweight title against Ricky Little on that same show on the 1st of December. So Jack, who has been, Jack's got a special place in my heart, Jack, because he's just come from nothing. and he lost on his debut, and we've been able to build him. He's been an absolute pleasure to deal with.
Yeah.
He's so enthusiastic, and on the 1st of December, Jack gets his chance at a major title, and if he wins, that will be an amazing night for us all.
If he wins, he'll have the best night ever. I saw how he celebrated his challenge belt when he won that.
Yeah.
So for him to win a Southern Area title, I want to see if he jumps up on the ropes and falls off again.
Oh, he'll be so excited, won't he? And Ricky Little's a good little tough opponent, and it gives Jack the. I mean, we did try and make the Jack Hughes Sammy Campbell fight first, but we couldn't make that, and so now he goes for. He now goes for this fight. Great! I can't wait to see Jack have his big opportunity on the 1st of December.
Good for him. Well done, Jack. But yeah, Linus Udofia, Taylin Jones. That's building nicely. I was speaking with Linus on the podcast I do the other day. He's in a good place. He's happy. He's ready.
What a show that's going to be.
I know.
Is that going to be? If it doesn't collapse and people don't pull off injured, that could be the best show that I've ever been involved with.
Yeah.
And you've actually got, even on the other card, you used to Kamari Dave Birmingham.
Yeah.
That's
Dave Birmingham going around causing upsets. And
brilliant show. So we're really looking forward to that. So.
Yeah. Wonderful. Right, so you've got the November one to come before that, haven't you?
Yeah, the Waddy Camacho Arfanic Bell, Michael Ramablatz and Ryan Walker for the English title.
Yeah.
I think we're doing quite well at the moment.
Yeah. I'll say you've overlooked that one in.
Yeah, but because it's more topical. The 1st of December, the November fights, the November shows closed down for titles. 1st of December we're still adding. But I can say that once we do the Deion Jumah fight, then. That's closed. There's no more title fights. That's going to be it. Well, I think
when you had that, because I know what the fight is that you're talking about.
Yeah,
that'll be something else.
I mean, do you know what? That night.
Now you've actually broken it down. That is.
Are we talking about? That is going to be some amazing card. Probably, I would say, as good a card, competitive-wise, as you will ever see. In terms of these fights, they're not 10-to-1 on title fights that you see sometimes on the TVs, right?
Yeah.
We are talking about fights here that people are going to have different opinions about who's going to win, and I don't think I don't know many cards that have ever going to be that competitive and that deep.
Yeah. So if you think Jordan versus Daryl, I mean they fought before, but Daryl wants revenge. Linus versus Tay could go either way completely.
Malshik and John
Miles Joel,
one each.
One each. Deion Jumah versus.
Yeah.
Is I mean I would favour Deion for it undoubtedly, but the other person
he's not without a chance.
Yeah, you can't rule him out.
And Jack Hughes, you class that as a 50-50 fight as well. So I think that's amazing. It's just an amazing card. I can't wait. Can't wait for November, December. This week we've got great cards, but we are building now really good, solid cards, and our fighters are getting opportunities to break through in TV. Don't forget we've also got Ultimate Boxing with our 4 boxers on the 2nd of November. We're giving our fighters opportunities on big TV platforms as well. It's great. It's exciting time.
And what's also exciting is the fallout of November, December means that 2019 you'll have shitloads of champions. It's not quite clear how many you'll have yet.
But we've got loads coming through. The 8s and 9s, Adrian Martin, Sean Robinson, they're all ready to go championships next year.
Yeah.
Mark Little's nearly there. I mean, we are talking about lots of guys that are coming forward to titles.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
And one way or the other, you'll finish 2019 with X number of champions, and then those will move on and others will come into.
And we've got loads filling up for that. This is what good management is about. It's about building the fighters into the big fights, giving them TV opportunities. This is what we do. This is what we do. This is what we do that's different. Everything is planned. And as long as fighters... as you know, as long as fighters adhere to the rules that we set, and you know we can deliver them the opportunities. Sometimes fighters are their own worst enemies, and they mess something up. But as long as they adhere, we can deliver for every fighter.
Yeah. But we'll move on to some questions. Thank you very much for everyone who sent one in. I'm going to start with ones about the venue from Saturday night. So this was at Tottenham.
I didn't remember I wasn't there.
Yeah, so I realised...
I will answer it, but yeah.
Daniel Smith, who also wasn't there.
Yeah.
I was not there for the show in Tottenham, but a guy I worked with was. He didn't like the venue and said it was nothing like going to York Hall. To be fair, I don't think many places would be. But, so my question to Steve is, by York Hall, what is the best other small hall venue he likes putting a show on or just going to?
Well, I don't actually think. We stage shows at Brentwood. If you've got, I'm not really a massive fan of Brentwood Leisure Centre. I think what you've got to understand though is when York Hall is unique, it's got the thing around the top. When you go to anywhere else, even the Copper Box, you don't get that atmosphere. And if you go to other leisure centres, which is where you have to, it's not going to be the same. So I don't think anybody can compare to York Hall. If you're in leisure centres, you have to accept it's not the same.
Yep.
But we had to use that facility because we couldn't get. It was a choice of using that or getting our fighters out. I'm not saying we won't go back there again in the future, but the point is, nothing's going to replace York Hall as being the iconic venue. But sometimes when you had to cancel a show because Anthony Joshua was fighting on 22nd of September, do our fighters then wait until December to fight, or do we get them out? We chose to get them out.
Yeah.
And yes, the venue might not be what you're used to, but at the end of the day, it's more important for the fighters to get the opportunities to fight.
So which places do you like going to outside of York Hall? There's not really any that stand out.
I don't. I mean, I've been to Brentwood for our own shows. I've been to a Lee Eaton show there. You know, it's not the same.
Yeah.
I've been to see Nigel Benn fight at Brentwood Leisure Centre. I've seen Herbie Hyde fight there in the past. It's never been a venue that I'm overly mad on. But again, it's still a leisure centre with bleacher seats.
Yeah, yeah. What was Leicester like? I've never been to the. Arena
it was a glorified leisure centre.
Yeah.
It's a leisure centre.
It looked like that on TV.
That's what it was. You had one side, you had the bleacher seats, and the rest of the side was all flat. So it's what it is. It's just, it held 3,000. So it's a bigger leisure centre.
Yeah.
But the atmosphere wasn't great from when I saw, but I wasn't there for the Leon Woodstock fight, and it might have obviously livened up then.
Yeah, they had long enough to get pissed. Right, what was the next one? Oliver McManus, again about the venue. I wanted to get these out of the way. With the first Goodwin show in Tottenham last weekend, are there any other venues in particular you'd explore putting on shows at in the future?
We are at the moment.
Is that the one you spoke about a while back? Not on
but
here.
Unfortunately, the person who runs it seems absolutely useless. So we're having trouble. We've got a venue we want to stage at, but it's difficult if the person running it is not that competent. We're worried that if we book the venue and turn up on the night, you'll go there and they're doing Morris dancing and then say, what are you doing? I know we've booked it, you've got a contract, but sorry, there's Morris dancing going on. So it does give us concerns. So yes, we're looking all the time at different venues. We're in different parts of the country as well, but this wasn't something we were actually looking at Tottenham. It was something that we were forced into. I'm still not saying we're not ever going to go back there again, but this was a desperation move to use a venue, but it's a perfectly good leisure centre. But then that's what you get in a lot of the countries around the country.
All right, Yeston. He mentioned, he as in Steve, mentioned there's no money showing small hall boxing on YouTube or TV. If someone offered him money, what's the minimum he would take to show his shows?
I'm not going to say that on here. It's relative, isn't it? I mean, I've had talks with so many companies that have come to me and wanted to put our shows on either television, YouTube channels,
streaming on some platform.
Everybody wants to, but not one person is coming. And I said, come with a financial business model that benefits my fighters. Right? If you don't benefit, there's no point egotistically in having your fights, in my opinion, shown online if you're not benefiting financially from it. Now, even if you're doing a YouTube show and the top of the bill is not benefiting from it going online, what is the point? Because even the kids underneath, you might be able to say to the people, you're going to benefit, and you're going to benefit, the top two fights are going to benefit, but underneath it, yeah, you're not going to benefit now, but when you get to the top bill, you are going to benefit. But you're just putting it out there with on average, you know, you can cheat the views at the end of it. You're talking about 800 to 900 views watching constantly. So in other words, the biggest number that's watching at any one time might be 800, 1100, that's it.
Yep.
So you can't just add them all up and say I've had 100,000 views. That's not true. It's what the optimum amount of people watching at any one time is. So you're getting maybe 1,000 views for that. And what it basically is people are going there to watch their individual fighters and then switching off again. So how many tickets are these people losing?
Yeah.
But that's just my view on it.
And how do you get a bottom line figure that replaces the tickets that they've got to
and then the other thing is, and that's my view. And obviously people will put up a counter argument, exposure, but exposure is not exposure if you're getting 1,000 people watching your fight. That's not exposure.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Paul Oldtight, as a fellow fan of the sport and not just the business side, if Steve could go back and be ringside for any fight or event, which would he choose?
Nigel Benn, Joel McClellan.
Yeah? Even with the tragic outcome?
Because Joel McClellan, it was just the most amazing fight ever. And although the outcome's tragic, I was actually at the Michael Watson, Chris Eubank fight. I was there, so I saw the tragedy there. But in terms of as a thing, because Gerald McClellan unfortunately got hurt, but it was still an absolutely unbelievable fight to watch. So if I could have watched the fight, that would have been it.
He's asked for me too. Mine would be Prince Nassim, Kevin Kelly out in Vegas.
Great fight.
The one where Naz spends about 10 minutes dancing behind the curtain before eventually coming. I think that was a cock-up as well, he said later on.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was, whether the curtain was meant to unzip or the music was meant to change, but either way, he ended up dancing for far too long behind the curtain, came down, got dropped Kevin.
It was a great fight. I went watching it.
Incredible.
But the only thing with American boxing, Have you been American boxing? No. There's no atmosphere there.
No.
So therefore, you go to watch it, it doesn't feel right. I watched Holyfield Lennox Lewis too. It was just, I paid £2,200 for one ticket. In about 1999, I think it was.
Yeah, what's that, about $3,500 now probably?
I paid that for a ticket. No, it wasn't. Yeah. It was a thing, even if you watch the Eddie Hearn DAZN thing, there was no atmosphere in the arena. You can't make people what they're not. It's not the same audience that the UK's got. There's nothing like a UK boxing audience, in my opinion.
Yeah. Did you see the show, the DAZN one at the weekend? Mm-hmm. In respect to the card, the one thing I thought the card was okay. Mm-hmm. You know, if I've got $1 billion, I'm hoping I'll put something better than that on to make a bang. But it was good enough. I was disappointed with. I was hoping with the budget that you've got to hand, you would revolutionise in some way how the boxing looked. In the same way the World Boxing Super Series have turned up, and the stuff with the uplighting, getting the fighters on stages. I know that's a tournament, I know that's an event, but they've changed the way boxing looks with the black ring, all of that. Mm-hmm. I thought Hearn would have been wise to in some way hire a production company that would change the way that boxing, like think of it in another way. I was surprised they didn't. I was surprised it just looked like a boxing show that you've got to sell to fans who are already saturated with PBC, with Showtime, with no longer HBO, but all these other things. You've got to find a USP somewhere.
But they were saying that they were going to change the way American boxing was run and watched. I didn't really see that.
Yeah.
I thought the fights were competitive, and I thought it was an alright show. But it was, as you rightfully say, it's a boxing show. It wasn't like when I went to Wembley for the Sowlands, the Crows Cox, and I went to watch that, and I thought, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And I loved that.
You come away thinking it's more than boxing.
Yeah, well, that was just a boxing show, in my opinion. It was a good, solid card of good fights. So I thought it was a good, solid card of good fights. I enjoyed watching it, but it wasn't the wow factor that. But again, maybe because when somebody talks and they promise all this, and then you have, it's like you go and watch a film and somebody says you want to watch this film, it's the best film ever, you go and watch it. And you think, no. But if nobody mentions about that film, you go and think what a good film it is. Yeah. But if you talk it up and talk up and BS and hype, then the expectation becomes too high. Yeah. And that's probably what's happened.
I think that's probably what my issue was. I was hoping for 10 and I got 7.
But your expectation was too high.
Yeah.
Raise the expectation beyond levels they were going to deliver.
But I'm not allowed to criticise Hearn because I do it too often apparently.
I just think you actually don't. I think you actually. I don't actually agree with that either, because I actually feel that you give credit where credit's due to them as well. You do. I think you're very fair. I mean, you've been accused of. I think you just point out what's good, what's not so good. I'm trying to do the same, but I think sometimes we've got to accept if somebody says about our shows, the venue's not so good, that wasn't a good show, your shows haven't, the Goodwin Boxing branded shows over the last 6 months have not been as good as they were before. Accept it.
Take it on the chin.
Don't turn around and say, you're a dickhead, you're a virgin, because you criticise my shows. Look back, accept it, right? Accept it and say, you're damn right, and we're trying to, but we know that, and we're making it better.
The virgin insult's the best one.
It keeps coming on, everybody keeps calling everybody a virgin.
Yeah, Rocky Fielding was calling someone, Bell you called someone.
I mean, what is that about? What is this all about? I mean, I don't know. Why is that an insult? Because somebody's a virgin anyway.
I know, and I just think, maybe if I was like 17 and I was still a virgin, I'd probably find that quite insulting, but I think Hearn called me it. I'm like, fuck, I've got 3 kids at home.
Did you get called that?
I've got called various things, but
okay.
Yeah, anyway.
No, I don't get that, but yeah, the bottom line is, I think sometimes constructive criticism is perfectly valid.
Yeah.
And I'm quite happy to accept constructive criticism. But I think, and I don't actually feel that, this is my personal thing, The thing, I'll tell you one thing. I met Umar on. Have you met Umar before?
No.
Martin, he is such a nice guy. He's telling me, he said, and I know what you said about his interview, but he was saying to me that he's at university. Yeah. And he's been thrust with this thing. He's not sure if he's going to do it long term. He said, but I haven't got a natural technique for it. I'm just trying my best to do it. So I've put my hats off to him, and I think he admits that he's not the best at it yet, but he's trying.
That's fair enough. What I said was, I don't like watching them.
But that's okay.
But Coogan got all like, he whinged about it, like, oh, why'd you say shit like this? I said it because I don't like watching them. Now, if Umar came to me and said, mate, that's out of order, fair enough if he thinks it's out of order. If he came to me and said, what don't you like watching about them?
Then you could probably...
Then I'd say, right, here's the issues.
And I think, on the other hand, again, he's a nice fellow and he's trying, but... if he's not doing the best job, it's probably quite good to point out to somebody you need to improve certain things.
I actually got a message of somebody up north saying, can you watch one of my videos and tell me what you don't like about them? So there you go. Dave Lockett.
But again,
it's nothing personal against him.
But he's actually not, when I met him, he's actually a really nice guy. But the thing is, he's just trying his best. I think he's been thrust on it because James Helder was... do you know what's happened?
I've heard rumours.
Okay, we'll talk about it afterwards. but nobody wants to talk about what happened to James. So I think what happened was James left, and Umar's been thrust in.
Yeah.
And he's doing it, and he's keen, but he hasn't got that experience of knowing of being able to do it yet, because he's just asking a bit blank. The questions are a bit bland at times.
Yeah, no, good on. I apologise to him if you ever see this. I didn't mean it personally. I just meant.
Yeah, but I think he's just trying. But and I think he'll get there because he's a very intelligent guy. So.
Good on him. I like a grafter. I'll take it.
He's a grafter. He is a grafter.
Yeah. Anyway, so there we go. Sorry.
Well, we got totally off the.
Paul Oldtie again. Does Steve feel he will ever be in a position to hold an all-female card or have a female headlining a big show?
Not an all-female card.
That's a big ask, isn't it? I mean, given that you sometimes run 12 fight cards, or
12 London fighters who've got to sell tickets. Yeah. So you can't do that. I think, and there's not enough fighters. Yeah, I think in time you might be able to get a TV company might be able to do it if they could be able to do it, but generally not. Female headlining, yes, I think that's very possible.
Yeah.
Very possible. Not. Yeah, I think that's well possible.
Especially because it's not being insulting, but the talent pool is a lot more shallow, and therefore the titles are a lot easier to possibly manipulate and manoeuvre.
And if you can build up a female with a good fan base who can fight, there is no reason you can't build her up as a headliner.
Yeah.
I think that's perfectly and utterly feasible. If you've got a female that doesn't sell tickets and blah blah blah, but I think if it's done right, I think you can do that. I think that's totally. I don't see why we can't do that within the next 12, 18 months.
All right, we'll keep an eye on it. LPC1231 on Twitter. After watching Archie Sharp display the best movements around the ring that I've seen in a very long time on Saturday's Warren card, who does Steve consider to be the best in his stable at using and moving around the ring? Good question.
Right, now I could answer. The reason I'm not going to answer it, I can give you somebody that is the best at it. They're moving brilliantly, but I don't think they're very effective at doing it. So I don't want to give a name because I don't want to criticise. Because otherwise I'm criticising one of the fighters. I don't think that's appropriate to do that. And if I mention somebody that I think is doing it well, then the person that's probably not doing so well will realise who it is. So I think in that instance, because when you're asking about, it's like saying again, they can sometimes upset a lot of people by answering that question. I'm really happy to answer anything, but if it comes down to upsetting my fighters, I can't really do that if I'm saying one does something better than the other. So I'm going to pass it to you because it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter if you can.
The ones that always frustrate me are the ones that use their movement, albeit head or feet or combination, to get into the range to punch and then forget to do it when they get there. That drives me mad. And there's one that springs to mind. I'm not going to say who it is.
And I think you're thinking the same person I'm thinking. But we'll talk about that afterwards. I think you will. Yeah.
So to turn it around and who does it the best, for me, Linus Udofia is one of the few in your stable that combination punches. So when they're in the pocket, they use movement, which is so rare to see for lads coming through. In that they'll throw two punches, either step back or stay in. But more often than not with Linus, you'll see him pivot off to the right or pivot off to the left, find the gap for the body shot.
He's exceptional. Linus is exceptional. And I think, yeah, definitely exceptional.
Yeah, I say that movement isn't necessarily around the ring, but once you're in that space, is making the most of the opportunity. Whilst you're there and whilst your chin's at risk, is making the most of that time. because actually you've done the effort to get into there, and actually now you're there, do something. And
I think that's going to be the key in the Taylor and Jones fight for me personally. That's what, it's really interesting. I was up in just totally going off the subject. So many people think Taylor and Jones are going to win.
Really?
When I was up in Leicester, 3 or 4 people come up about the fight. Everyone thought Taylor and Jones wins.
I mean, you can make a fair argument for Tay winning.
That's
what makes it fascinating.
But I'm just not of that opinion at all. I just say to them, "You're crazy. There's no way." So I don't see it. I don't see it. But
Tay's got that heavy jab. If he can keep that jab and keep Linus off, that's the problem. Is how do you keep Linus out of that?
Pick, bomb. He's there all the time, and I just think he'll just wear him down. But we'll see. Great fight again. Taylor and Jones. I'm so looking forward to that.
I know.
Somebody give me a fight. That's the fight I'm looking forward to this year. More than any other fight, TV or non-TV. Personally, for me, that's the fight.
And now it feeds into the Wilder Fury undercard. Go down to York Hall, watch that.
Do you know something? It's going to be a better fight than Wilder Fury as well.
Agree.
The Wilder Fury fight is not going to be very good.
No, it'll be Fury trying to outmaneuver,
cling, push,
ruin the fight where he can.
It's not going to be a good fight.
Stop Wilder's kind of lunging attacks.
Yeah, it's not going to be a good fight. Not going to be a good fight.
Jamie Spate. Jamie. Congratulations, Jamie, on the engagement to a girl that, if you put them side by side, you would never say that man is going to get engaged to that lady.
God, you'd think, so where's Jamie? He must be paying for her.
I know.
Because she is so far above him.
I know.
In his league.
So congratulations, and I genuinely mean.
Forgetting a woman that's 20 levels above you.
Yeah, that's a hell of a talent.
He's better at that. He's better at that than he is at boxing, that's for sure.
God bless you, Jamie.
It's good job we can take a joke. But is it a joke?
No, it's not a joke. It's incredible. It's incredible. Anyone out there that needs woman tips, go to Jamie Spate.
Yeah, he should. He stops boxing because he could actually start charging for it, couldn't he?
Yeah, must be hung.
Spate Charm School.
Steve, as a friend of mine, former, and somebody I'd look to for advice, what goes first? What goes in first, the hot water or the milk when making a cup of tea?
Hot water.
Do ya?
And in the coffee, the milk goes first.
Any reason?
No reason whatsoever. But I always, with coffee, I have to put the milk in first.
I like to work efficiently, so like when the kettle's boiling, I'll put the milk in, put the milk back.
Don't taste like the tea if I put the milk in first.
It makes no odds. No odds.
I don't know, but anyway, it says just something else weird about me, about tea, because I've got some weird No, I don't. When I come to the office, right, I only drink coffee because I can't stand the tea.
Right.
When I go home, I have to have tea because I can't stand the coffee.
Is it the same tea and coffee that you've got at home?
But I don't like coffee at home, and I don't like tea in the office. It's mentally bizarre, and I've been like it for 30 years.
Strange.
And I did say it's strange, but I don't know why we're discussing tea and coffee, but
no,
very odd.
No, there you go. There's your answer, Jamie. Final question from Stuart Howe. How are you doing, Stuart?
Hi, Stuart.
Congratulations on the business for reaching 6 years, I think it was, the other day. Excellent stuff. So, for those who don't know, Stuart, who we had on here before, works in various, I think it's hypnotherapy, isn't it? It's his speciality.
Hypnotherapy, yeah.
So, that kind of leads into his question. I'm genuinely interested. My question is, do you think more nutritionists and hypnotherapists, etc., need to be in boxing? And if so, why don't many boxers use them?
Some do use hypnotherapists, but they just don't admit to it.
Yeah. This reminds me, I was thinking about this on the way over. When we did our first live show at a podcast, we were talking about this, and we had Umar Sadiq and Craig Richards, Linus was there, and Matty Chanda. And we were talking about if you found out an opponent was using a hypnotherapist or somebody to talk through their concerns, their issues, would you see it as a weakness? And I think Linus, Craig and Umar all kind of towed the sporting line saying, no. Matty Chanda, I didn't give a shit. Matty Chanda was like, yes, yeah, I absolutely see it as a weakness. That if they can't control their own mind space, then that's a crack that I can try and expose when I get into the ring. I
can tell you 2 or 3 big, I'm not going to say it on camera, 2 or 3 big names that have got hypnotherapists.
Right. I want to know who they are now.
One very big name.
One very, one of the biggest names in the UK.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, well, it's sort of hypnotherapist, psychologist,
Yeah.
Whatever you want, whichever the version you want.
But you go back, Steve Collins famously did, didn't he, in the Chris Eubank? Or whether he did or he didn't is always.
He didn't, but he freaked Eubank. He freaked Eubank out doing it, didn't he?
Yeah, he said he was in a state of hypnosis when he went to the ring.
Yeah, that was all
total bollocks. But
full credit to Steve Collins for that. It's really smart, really smart. Because he outsight Eubank.
Outthought a thinker, which is a good thing to do. But do you think? Why do you think more people don't either use them or openly admit to using a hypnotherapist?
Because I think if you're openly used to using a hypnotherapist, psychologist, whatever it may be, it's seen by the opponents as a sign of weakness. And some of these, if people knew this about some of the boxers, they would get some stick in the head-to-heads at the. So I think it's seen as a weakness. And other boxers would use it. Man, raise those head-to-head press conferences, and you know somebody's got somebody helping them mentally. Jesus Christ, the stick they'd get. So I think that's why. So I think it goes on a little bit more. Nutritionist is now commonplace. Strength and conditioning is commonplace, but the mind's just as important.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very important thing for boxers to have that. And for some of them, it's very important. It's very important. Some boxers, even I see at your call, they before the fight they're trying to run away. They try to run out of the dressing room. We're told that the whip, when David Evans looks after it, he will tell you.
We're seeing him in a few weeks on the piss.
Yeah, but he will tell you that there are certain boxers that try and panic and run away.
Yeah.
So they probably need that sort of help.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? Because mental health is more pressing within the sport, and it's an agenda item that people are discussing more. But there seems to be a stigma around something like getting help with it. Like, it's all well and good people saying, oh yeah, I've had it in the past, but very few seem willing to say, I've got it now and I seek help with it by doing this, that and the other.
A lot of people do. A lot of people do. If you imagine in normal life, how many people do you know suffer panic attacks, that have certain mental, and when I say mental, it's not mental as in they're mad, but suffer depression or even suffer low periods or suffer some form of anxiety about certain things. So you need, I think that it's more, you need help, and I don't think it's a weakness. I just think it's a sign of strength that you can know you've got a weakness and go deal with it, but you don't have to announce that to the boxing public as a whole. I think that's important. So I think there are people that would do it, and I would encourage boxers to use that type of person, but not make it common knowledge. Yeah,
I remember chatting with Matty about it and saying, you know, it must be, if you were in the 8th, 9th round and it was getting really hard, you're both knackered, you're in a clinch, and if you said to him, you know, look, I know you're weak, I know you're mentally weak, I know you've got these problems that you, like, could you get into someone's head by that point? Because they're so exhausted, so worn out. Yeah, I can see why people don't kind of openly admit it, but I can
Matthew Chandler's very mentally strong. For what he's gone through in his life, he's a mentally strong person, nice guy, and mentally very strong. So he obviously doesn't need anything like that.
And one of the biggest smiles that you'll ever see in boxing.
He's just a nice guy.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Just a nice guy.
He's lovely. Well, that's all the questions for this week. So thank you very much for submitting them.
We should hopefully be able to announce the Deion Jumah fight next week.
Yes, so another one for December 1st. Get your tickets for that early doors, because I think you're confident of selling.
Oh, that's selling out. There is no doubt that venue is selling it. That is selling out. So if you want to come December the 1st, go online, do something, get your ticket, because that will be oversubscribed. Might even find them on StubHub at double the price. Don't blame me.
Right, excellent. So try not to go on StubHub. Get on there early.
No, so do not put them on. They will sell out. There won't be any at the door. So joking aside, you don't want to see that. But you know what people do? They get them and think they'll sell them. It will be really hard to get in, because you won't. I'd imagine 1 or 2 weeks ago you just won't be able to get tickets.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. Get your tickets December 1st and the other shows before that, including this Saturday. And yeah, we'll see you next week, where there'll be more announcements, review of Saturday, and plenty more to chat about.
Exactly. Right. Cheers.
Thank you very much.